This is another video in the Graphic Solutions series, and what we're going to do here is we're going to round off this corner with a radius, and we want to do it so it's smooth, so that there's a smooth transition from the straight line into the curve. And there's a way to do that that is pretty reliable. What we're going to do first is we're going to decide what that radius is going to be. And let's say, for example, that radius is going to be a 1-inch radius. So that means it's 1 inch from the center of the circle, center of the arc, to the edge of the arc. So we have to first find some points along this. That point where the straight line becomes the curve, or where the curve becomes the straight line, that point is referred to as a tangent point. It's a specific place. So first we have to find where the center of the circle is, and then we have to find where that tangent point is before we can draw everything. So the first thing that we do, if we're working with a 1-inch radius, is we're going to measure at 90 degrees to the line. We're going to measure 1 inch away. And at 90 degrees to the line over here, we're going to measure 1 inch away. So we know that somewhere along an imaginary line here that's 1 inch away from this line, we know that the center point is there. So we're going to construct a line that is parallel to this line that goes through that point. And we can do that with the sliding triangle trick that we looked at before. So get this triangle here right on that line and slide it over to here to that point so that it makes a nice parallel line. So we're right on the line here, sliding over, and we do a layout line along here. Do the same thing with the upper line. We have the triangle here, and it's right on the line, and we can do a triangle here and slide right along here till we get to that point, which is 1 inch away, and draw a line. Now where those two lines cross, that's the center point of the arc, because it is a point that's 1 inch away from this line and 1 inch away from that line. Thus, it is the center point of the arc. So we found the center point, and traditionally, center points are marked with a little tiny horizontal line and a little tiny vertical line that go right through the center point. So that's our center point mark. Now, what we have to do is find those tangent points, and the tangent point is on an imaginary line that is at 90 degrees to the line that it's on. So the tangent point to an arc that has that center point will be at 90 degrees to this line and going through this center point. So we need a layout line that does that at 90 degrees to this line, and a layout line that does this at 90 degrees to this line. So what we're going to do, an easy way to do this, is to put this triangle directly on that line. And once we've got it perfect, we can slide it over until it goes through that center point. And then we draw a layout line that goes through that center point and through the line. That's the tangent point. Same thing over here. We're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to get a triangle right on the line, and then we're going to slide it over so it goes through that line there. And that's the tangent point of that. So we've got a tangent point here, and a tangent point here. Now, let's test that by drawing the arc. I'm going to use my 2-inch circle, 1-inch radius, 2-inch circle, from my circle template, and I'm going to try to get it on the tangent point here and on the tangent point over here. And then I'm going to draw that arc. And then we're going to draw the two straight lines up to meeting the arc. And what we have done is very smoothly made that transition by finding the tangent point and, of course, by finding the center point. Now, here's the thing that's important. The arc stops at the tangent point and the straight line starts at the tangent point. The arc stops at the tangent point and the straight line starts at the tangent point. A drawing trick is that if you draw the arc first, because drawing an arc is harder than drawing a straight line, you draw the arc first, and if it's a little bit off, you just cheat the straight line to meet it. Start and stop here, start and stop here. All right. I'm going to use this part of the paper up here to do the tangent arc again, using different tools to show you how to use your adjustable triangle and how to use a compass to do this. Now, the first thing we have to do is we have to measure one radius away from this line and one radius away from this line in order to find the center point of the arc. So let's make the radius 1.5 inches this time. So there we are. There's 1 inch, there's 1.5 inches right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this adjustable triangle, I'm going to rest it on the parallel bar, and I'm going to adjust it until it is right over the line. Okay, and that's right over the line now. Tighten it up, slide it over, and there's our 1.5 inch mark. So we know this entire line, because it's parallel to this line, and it's 1.5 inches away, that every place along this line is 1.5 inches from that line. Let's do the same thing with the other. So what we're going to do here is, again, be 1.5 inches away from that line. And let's go ahead and adjust. Oh, it won't adjust far enough to be parallel. So what I'm going to do is turn it and then rest it on my parallel and open it up and get it right on top of the line. Here's our mark. Here's a line that goes through that mark, and that's the center point of the arc. Now the next thing I have to do is find a layout line that is at 90 degrees to this line that goes through that center point, and another one that's at 90 degrees to this line going through that center point. So I can do that by using my adjustable triangle to get a line that is right over the original line, and then I'll use the 90-degree part of my 30-60 triangle and go through that center point, and that's the tangent point for that line. Do the same thing for the other line. Get it right on top of it accurately. Slide it over out of the way, keeping it on the parallel. Get that 90-degree angle of the triangle up there, and that's the tangent to that line. So the next thing I'm going to use is my compass, because that 1.5 inch radius is too big to use my circle template. So here I am. I'm going to put the pin of the compass right at that crossing point. That's pretty close. Put the leg of the compass, the pencil, right on that tangent point. Test it. It looks good there. It looks good there. And draw the arc. Now I'm coming up a little short here, and remember, when I said that what we want to do is we want to draw the arc first and the line last, and the reason for that is a compass is inherently a little bit inaccurate. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take that line away. I'm going to get the straight edge up against the tangent point, and I can draw the perfect tangent. And that's only, I would say, a 64th of an inch off. And that's because trying to get that compass pin exactly in that crossing point is incredibly difficult. So the reason the old draftsmen would always say, draw the arc first or draw the line after, is so that you can cheat that line if you need to. So this is a way to do it using your adjustable triangle and using your compass.